And good evening, everyone. Well, if you're on the East Coast, it's just a minute past 6 p.m. EST. I'm Glenn Crooks. I'll be joined in a couple of moments by Roberto Abramowitz and John Rojas. This is Soccer in the City live. And being live, well, we came from training today. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. The 0-0 draw with Sporting KC. And then after that, it was the U.S. Open Cup result last night at St. John's, the 3-1 victory over Rochester. And then what's going to happen perhaps against Columbus on Saturday at Yankee Stadium. But first, at training today, the first thing that you look out for when Tati Castellanos, the Golden Boot winner, the guy who's the talisman for New York City FC, didn't play against Sporting KC. It was called precautionary so that he would be ready for this match against Columbus. He also did not dress or play in the U.S. Open Cup. So that was my first question to Ronny Deila, the head coach today. Tati Castellanos was unable to play and not in the squad in the previous match, the 0-0 draw at Citi Field. What's his status for this one coming up against Columbus? Do you know yet?
Yeah, he's ready. He's 100% now. So we did everything right there to take him out the last game. And now today in training was like you can see, he was 100% again. Score goals all over the place, and he's ready to fight on Saturday.
Now the easy thing to conclude in a 0-0 draw and Castellanos isn't in the lineup is that, like, wow, this club is going to struggle to score goals if Tati's not around. So I know you don't look at it strictly like that, but can you respond to that?
Of course, when you have a top scorer like him and a finisher, it's of course going to be a loss. At the same time, this is about systems as well. It's about a team who play each other up to a lot of goal chances, and we have other players who can fill that role and come in and score goals as well. But of course, Tati has some qualities that is difficult to replace, and his desire to win, fight, attack space. He's unbelievable in the air. These kind of things is maybe not, we don't have in the squad right now, but we have other things that so you have to just play a little bit different and get, if it's Eber or Thales or whoever plays up front there, the game will be a little bit different than with Tati.
Can you just explain briefly the advantage of having someone who can fight like that up there, or is strong in the air, or the kind of example where if you're in a jam, you can just play it in that general direction and good chance you're going to come out with the ball?
Yeah, his hold-up play is good, so if you kick it off the pitch, we have one guy there is everybody's fearing, and the ball will drop down. He will keep the ball, it will drop down around him, so it's easy to move the team from one side to another side. And also, if they're very deep, you can just put the ball in the box, and he will kill whatever comes in front of him inside the box, and that's not only for himself, but he also create space for others. And a lot of our players is coming against the ball, likes to do that, and then it's good for him as well. He's dragging into in behind and also into the box, and I think that fulfill the others a lot also as well.
And we're back here. And Roberto, I got a note from you, so we are live. So are you saying we're not on the air?
No. I lost the whole signal, but now everything seems to be back to normal. So.
Oh, thanks for the alarm.
59 seconds later. But
okay, well,
I hope everybody else saw it.
Well, that was from training today, myself with Ronny Deila. That'll be part of our conversation for the pregame show on the New York City FC Network coming up on Saturday. Columbus Crew SC visiting Yankee Stadium. And so, he has said similar things about Tati, but first and foremost was that he was running around scoring goals like crazy, something to that effect. We were there and saw it. Roberto Abramowitz and I were both at training. John couldn't make it. He couldn't make the trip in from Portland. I'm shocked. And boys, welcome.
It's just the weather didn't let my plane fly properly.
Okay, well, next time, maybe a helicopter. But it's, you really can't, this eventuality that Castellanos is going to be gone, and we're talking now, a couple of months where the expectation is he'll be gone, and you can tell just the way Ronny describes it. There's no one to replace him, and how the team has to adjust or he has to adjust the team plan because he just has no one who is like that. And before you guys comment on that, I didn't mean to say, I meant to say at the top that we're giving away 4 Delta Lounge tickets again here on Soccer in the City, part of our Soccer in the City Live. We'll have a trivia question just a little bit later on, and then we'll give the answer a little bit later as well. And we'll give you a chance to get 4 tickets either on my Twitter or on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page here. But who'd like to chime in first about the dilemma of Ronny Deila when Tati Castellanos departs?
It is a dilemma. So if they don't have anybody on the back burner that's ready to come in from afar, wherever that may be, which it could be from Europe, could be from South America, or could be from someone on the West Coast or East Coast, then Eber is right now the default to become the next center forward again, as he was the previous center forward. The problem being, as the previous Eber isn't the same as the present Eber or future Eber, and that is an issue. You just see it every day. That every time that he gets a chance to be out there in the field, he's just not the same player. And it's worrisome because when he came, he was so vivacious. He was everywhere on the field. He anticipated plays very well. He could beat players to the spot and find a lot of goals like that. And now he can't do that. He's still recuperating. It's not an easy injury to come back from. But he's not 100%, and I don't know if he'll ever get to 100%, and that's what worries me. So maybe he can, and I hope so. I really, really, really hope so. But if he can't, then there's got to be a plan B. And either, as I said, it's going to come from outside of the organization, either be somewhere in MLS or Europe or Central South America, Africa, Asia, wherever, or maybe he's sitting on the team right now. And what I see as a possibility is Tati Castellanos 2. And what I mean by this is when Tati Castellanos came to MLS, when he came to New York City FC, he wasn't a center forward. He was basically somebody who was more out on the wing, especially the right wing. And then by necessity, he was converted into a center forward. And then he took it and ran with it. And the player that may have that same possibility is Tyler Magno.
He didn't run with it. He was the second string to Eber. So
even before that, when he first came in, he was playing on the wing. He wasn't a center forward.
I know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you said he took the position of striker and ran with it. He was the backup to Eber. He wasn't playing.
Right, I get it. But when he was given an opportunity, Glenn, that's what I'm saying, is that when he was given an opportunity, and again, it was by necessity because Eber got hurt.
Yeah,
he already played some striker, right? Okay. When Eber was there, he played some striker because he was coming in and replacing him at times. But then, when Eber went down, he became the default striker.
Yes.
And I remember all the criticism that was being laid on him, that he really isn't a striker and that he's not a goal scorer. And both of you were basically saying that for a long time. And you weren't wrong at the time. But he developed. He continued to grow. And he worked at it, and he became a goal scorer. He became a number 9 that works his ass off all game long, even if he doesn't have the ball or the team doesn't have the ball.
Well, and I think Tati Castellanos is proof that working at your game, having a supportive staff around you, which Ronny Deila and his staff have certainly been, the way they've really mentored him well, I think. I just recall Deila trying to get him to, stay in the area, that he was floating too much out onto the flanks and had to really work on that because, he always wanted to, and now he's learned how to move better. John, what do you think about what Victoria says here? You could say whatever you like about Tati and Ronny and his dilemma, but, Eber did score last night on a goal that kind of Castellanos could score on, where you pressure the keeper. But what do you think?
One, because that's the system. Because you as a number 9, you are the first defender. So he's going to that pressure. Whoever the name is, that's his responsibility. And that's why Ever scored last night that goal. Because he was there doing what he's supposed to do, right? I have a hard time getting everything that Roberto said, because just I think it's a mix of, it's a lot of stuff with, throwing stuff out there. First, Ever is now barely playing more games in this 2022 or having more appearances than he got in the whole 2021. So you need time. He needs time. And this goes to what Victoria said, that yesterday proved that Ever, didn't deliver, and that we need Tati, or the team needs Tati. He's coming back from a real hard injury, not only on the physical side, but on the mental side. And that field from last night, that's trash to any player. It's insane to play on that. You step on that field in the first 15 minutes, you more worry about your health than the game itself.
Well, Maxime Morales learned that.
I was about to say that. Maxime Morales torn his ankle. The player from the other team, from Rochester, he got injured. He went on himself alone. That is, you see it on the passing.
Is that true? We didn't see that. Roberto and I were in the end zone. We couldn't quite see what happened on that play.
Yeah, it was hard to see. We were sitting with the supporters yesterday, so it was hard to see, and we didn't. I didn't have the game on my phone yet.
It was no tackle. I mean, yes, he got into on a 50-50 ball, but they were not. What happened with his knee was the way his feet got stuck in that artificial surface.
Yeah, they don't wet it. There's a big problem in St. John's, because New York City would love to have that field wet, but they don't have the ability to water it down.
They should bring the fire truck in. Just call the fire truck in.
Yeah, they really should.
If you could get if you could get a team escort somewhere, you should be able to get a fire truck, right?
It has to be extremely wet, that kind of artificial surface, because that surface, you can see it from the look of it. It's one of the worst surfaces. It's like, a public park, basically.
Okay.
And
actually, when you're there, it doesn't look bad, but by the fact that it's not wet, it's a problem. And by the way, Glenn, it's not a bad idea. They really should call in a fire truck before the next game and throw a hose up there and just wet the damn field down. I mean, if they, as you said, if they can call the fire department to escort the players in every game at Yankee Stadium, then Jesus, deliver them 1,000 gallons of water and straight around there, or whatever it takes.
So back to the main topic and the point here. Ever needs time to get back to himself. I don't know where Roberto says he's not 100%. What he doesn't have is, the game rhythm, which is different to not being 100%. If he wouldn't be 100%, there's not a chance that he stand on an artificial turf. So he is 100%. What he's not is game fitted, game rhythm on his leg and on his mind more than anything. So he needs time for that. And the fact that Tati didn't play, on the weekend, and the fact that he didn't play this time around, of course, is not only, yes, Tati had something, you need to take care of him, you're not going to risk him, but at the same time, you need Ever to get those minutes, to get his head free of any kind of worrisome, and start feeling the game and start feeling the connections. And so that's one thing. And that's something that only Ronny can control. I mean, Ronny cannot control who's coming, from where he's coming, nothing. He can chime in, he can ask, he can, be insistent on the necessity of having someone to replace Tati, but he can control when and how that player is going to come in.
That's right.
He controls what he has.
You coach who you have. That's right.
Exactly.
And, so it's going to be.
I mean, there might be conversations with David Lee, but getting something. I mean, David Lee sees this as well. It's not like he's not seeing what we see.
And not only that, I mean, Palmeiras is coming from Tati for more than a year. So the guy is going to go. The guy is going to go. You almost lost him on the past window. and you convince him to stay and play the Champions League. So he's leaving as soon as possible. As soon as he get a good offer and both parties agrees, he's going to leave. So you already have at least 7 months to work on that replacement. And I think, but the summer, they should have a list of 3 players that 1 or 3 guys are going to come in. I don't care if he come in and share time with Tati on the field or not, or at least on the group, but having him already here on market so he can control what he can control, which is training the guys.
You are a terrible director, Glenn. You are a terrible director.
I did it at exactly the right time.
I'm in the room over here, and you have my butt on screen. What is wrong with you?
Who tells you it's not on purpose?
I think that's exceptional directing, personally. But
oh my God! I apologize for everybody who's going to watch this video. I apologize for everybody who's listening on the podcast. Just be thankful that you didn't have to see what you had to see. Jesus, Glenn.
This is Soccer in the City Live, and I'm Glenn Crooks. That's John Rojas there, Roberto Abramowitz, and we are on most every week. We're going to give away some tickets shortly to 4 tickets, 4 Delta tickets at Yankee Stadium for the match against Columbus Crew SC coming up. Some other training notes. Malde Amundsen was training on the side, so and he's got it appears to be strictly a left thigh injury because that's where the ice was wrapped around at the end of practice. And Maxime was not out on the pitch. He was receiving treatment. We do know he turned his ankle on the turf and is questionable for the match on Saturday. So some unfortunate thing. Yes, John.
And you had to applaud Maxi, the kind of personality, leadership, and player that he is. Because to be honest, as soon as he turned his ankle, he has to go out, period. He can't afford losing Maxi on this game just because of this.
Yeah.
And he worked through it, and he played the game, and he, did whatever he could to influence the game. So in both ways, Ronny to let him lead his body and lead the way, but him for being there for the team and understand, like, if we want to actually do something on the cup, I need to be here. So I'm going to take it for the team.
Plus,
but Maxime was only scheduled to play 60 minutes. That his schedule was 60 minutes. They were going to take him out if he was healthy or not healthy. That he was only going to play 60 minutes last night.
That's beyond the point.
It was, the point of all that is that, you make a decision in that. Do you play Maxime Morales on a turf like that at the age of 35, where he's had injury issues, but he hasn't played a lot recently, and you're trying to get him game fit? And these are the decisions you have to make. And, I think, Ronny talked about the field afterwards and the dry, like Roberto had said, it's dry, bring in the fire truck. We might push for that, huh, Roberto?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to go. Now, I mentioned Chris Gloster. So I spoke to him at training today. And in a moment, we're going to hear from Maxime Chanot, who I had a 25-minute one-on-one with today. He mentioned it in the presser, some details about his injury, but he gets even more into it with me. And I'm going to play a couple of clips there. But he was he was wonderful to speak with today. And I think he's enjoying life considerably, knowing that he's recovered from something that was very serious. But for Gloster, look at Gloster. Last year, he came in. It was Amundsen and Goody alternating and nowhere to be found, Chris Gloster. He was third as a left back. Now Goody is gone. Gloster's the number 2. Amundsen's injured. And Gloster's come in. He scored his first career goal and did not play last night. Kevin O'Toole got the start, but in talking to Gloster, and this ties in, remember what Ronny said about Tati Castellanos, the importance of him in that first clip. One of the things is you could just put the ball in there, man, and he's gonna get on it. So listen to Gloster talking about the importance of service from the flank. One of your responsibilities on the flank is your service, not scoring goals. Mm-hmm. It's going to be more maybe delivering. Yes. And can you give us a sense of how you work on that? Because you really have to develop relationships with the people receiving the ball too. Mm-hmm. Knowing their movements and things like that. How do you sort that out?
I think it's just these types of days. I think training and really getting those reps in, really knowing your teammates, knowing the strikers, knowing the wingers, how they play, how they move inside the box. And I really think it's just, for the outside backs and no service, I think it's really just putting it into an area and just let the attackers attack it. And I think that's the most you could do, honestly. It's very difficult to actually pick out someone, but when you just put it in the area, it's free for all, and whoever gets there first gets it. So I think, that's the best we could do, really.
Yeah, with Castellanos and Magno to a point too, it's kind of nice to know that
Exactly.
they're pretty good at attacking the ball in the air.
Exactly.
So it really does tie into what Ronnie said. It's like, and that's what he is saying. It's like you got Tati in there and it's interesting, John, because I think everybody might approach this a little differently, but putting it to a spot rather than to a person, because there's so much movement in there, and then the players know what spots need to be occupied. What do you think?
Yeah, because when you play like a number 9 like Tati that moves so much, that does so much of a defensive work to sometimes on those transitions, he needs a little extra time to be there. He's getting into the spaces, not being there. He's not a reference per se. So most of the times, if you are on the wings, you're not going to break and wait and see if he's there or not, right? You just put it on the space. He had the time to get there. He gets there, and he's going to attack that ball, attack the space instead of being on that spot. And I think that's the best way to go at it, because that gets fluidity to the attack, and then goes to one of the big principles when you're playing outside. If you have the advantage either on space or numbers, you don't break, you take the advantage. So that's basically what it is.
Yeah, and I think there's a chance, maybe it's an outside chance, but there's a chance when Amundsen comes back healthy. Remember how Ronnie looked at those two last year, Gudmundur Thorarnsson and Malde Amundsen. He thought of Amundsen as more of a defensive left back, and he thought of Goody as the more attacking left back.
Yeah, best service, for example.
Well, you've got the same sort of iteration here with Amundsen still on board and Gloster. And when you see Gloster's delivery, and Malde, if you're listening, this is a challenge, but I think it's a little bit more, it's got a little more pace. It's got maybe a little bit more purpose. They both could whip it in with the left, but I've enjoyed watching Gloster the last couple of games where he's been given the chance to see what he could do in the attack, And
at that age / inexperience, what you need is that, right? I mean, every little opportunity that you can give to the boy so he can get reps, he can get the pressure of competition, he can get sorted out, his routine on the field and off the field on game day is beautiful for him. Is a service for the team, and it's a service for the guy. And in today's day and age, the game is played that way. I mean, you can have your roster, you have your best 11 players, but at the end of the day, most of the coaches analyze the opposition team. And once you have the opposition, the model that they play, the way that they go at it, then you decide maybe I don't need this guy because we don't need service from this side. We need to go more on this side. So that's the kind of elements that a coach needs with the analysis and having these tools, right? One guy that can give me more structured, defensive, solid positions, and one that is going to give me a lot more service. It gives the team a lot of different actions to attack and to be unpredictable for the opposition.
And Gloster talked about how he understands he's got to improve on the defensive side. That's Eddie spoke about organization more than anything. That full interview will run at halftime of our broadcast on the New York City FC Network on Saturday against Columbus. Well, I want to get to Chanot because this is really it's almost heart-wrenching because, first of all, he's the longest-serving player for New York City FC. So, Roberto, this is a guy he's been around almost as long as us. And there he is getting this friendly fire injury that a teammate inflicted this wound. And this wound was an elbow, as he'll describe it. And I'm going to just put him up here to talk a little bit about it. For those who haven't heard, he's very descriptive in what he went through. So let's just listen in to Maxime Chanot. And this will air on my podcast On Frame in its entirety. Maybe we'll put it up here somehow too. But this is part of a 25-minute chat with Maxime Chanot today. About 6 weeks ago, you sustained an injury which, well, at the time, based on what you were told, and I'd like you to maybe describe that, you might have thought that this might be threatening my career. It was that bad. It was on international duty with Luxembourg. Can you explain what happened? Because I don't think anybody or many people have seen it, and then what the result of it was.
Yes, so I just received, as you said, in national team duty when we play against Bosnia, away in Bosnia. After 10 minutes during the game, I just get an elbow on my eye, and right away I lost my vision. So I already get many knock on my life, and sometimes you just get like, how you say, like blurry. But that was a little bit different. I was like proper blind right away. So I went to hospital, and feedback from the exams was very bad. Technically, the doctor from Bosnia just told me I have like 50% of chance to lose my vision permanently. So they proposed me to get a surgery there back in Bosnia, but yeah, that's something I shouldn't consider, you know. So I have to stay. I was stuck in Bosnia for a few days because I couldn't fly back to Luxembourg because of the pressure of the plane. And so yeah, it's been tough. I've been blind for almost 2 weeks. Couldn't see anything from my left eye. Obviously, thinking about football wasn't even like a priority in this case. I was just thinking about having a normal life. So yeah, it's been tough. It's been very tough.
So what was it? Did you wake up one morning and then it was a little better, or at what point did you start thinking, "Ooh, I'm getting this back"?
Yeah, after I would say in 10 days, 12 days exactly. So a little bit less than 2 weeks, I start to see a little bit of light. So that's very good news. And my faith saved me. And yeah, you know how I'm a big follower of Jesus. I always stay calm in a storm because I know Jesus will be there for me, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, after 2 weeks I start to see lights, and every day I start to feel a little bit better until I would say last week, where I start to see like almost like 90% of my vision. So it's been tough. As I said, we're not talking about a muscle injury or
Right.
broken bones, whatever. Like, you know, it's going to be 3 weeks, 6 weeks or whatever. The doctor just told me we don't know. Now we just have to see how your body will react and how you will react. So that, I think, is the funniest, the scariest thing. You know, you just wake up every morning and say, okay, what's going to happen now?
Well, that's scary. That was pretty vivid on his part, and we know he's a spiritual man, a man of faith, and he certainly credits that a bit and or a lot. And I think it's and you look at him, and Roberto, you went face to face with him today, just and chatting with him a little bit about it. I mean, you can't tell anything. I mean,
No.
whatever swelling or anything that went on his eye, he looks normal, and he's not quite 100% with the vision, as he said 90%, and he's getting used to this mask and playing with it. But hey, before we talk more about it, I do have one more to play, and it's about the mask. So here's a guy, he scored last night with this mask on, and
No,
you
just
know,
go without the mask.
well, I had a little chat with him after this interview, which you guys will. I don't think he'll mind me talking about it, but let's listen to part 2 here. Let's go back to before the Toronto match. I saw you on the field, so we chatted a little bit, and you said some of these things. But you also talked about the mask that you have to wear, which obviously that's something you've got to get used to. So how is that feeling? The one thing I thought of, and we might have even discussed it, is, well, one of your strengths, if I had to think of one quality that really stands out to me in watching you over the years, it's you're great in the air, your air game. And last night, no problem. You cleared a corner. You came in and just thunderously cleared a corner. I don't know if you've headed anything like that since you put this mask on. And then you got the goal later in the match. So tell me about that.
Yes, nothing much to say about this. At some point, if I started the game, is because I was feeling 100% to play. So it's not even a question if I could or not head the ball. I scored the goal, thanks to God. I think it was a good sign from Jesus to let know everybody I'm back. I'm back in a game.
Your reaction was interesting. You were fired up. But you took the mask off and you whipped it to the ground. Was that a statement that I can play with this thing?
Yes, I think it was all my frustration about what happened the last 6 weeks who just left my body at this time. I just want to say if they think Chanot was over, I wouldn't bet on it. I'm just back. I'm just back in a game, and you can trust on me, and I will be back in this team, and I'm gonna help this team to reach another championship.
And this mask, you also said to me that you may have to wear it the remainder of your career. Is that a doctor order, and is that true? Is that the way you know it to be?
Yeah, it's a doctor order, and I think now I've also to protect my health. As I repeat again myself one time, but it's not a broken bones or like a muscle injury where you can heal. Vision, and I experience it, so I can tell you it's something I will need for the rest of my life. So I have to protect myself by wearing this mask, and obviously I showed yesterday I can play with this mask without any issue, so it won't be a trouble to wear it again for the rest of this season and my career.
Well, that's Maxime Chanot from our conversation today after training up in Orangeburg, New York. So 2 things he said to me. First of all, he wants to play till he's 38. He's 32 now. And then he would love to stay and work with the youth at New York City FC in the academy, which we know he's already kind of he's getting his badges, and he's kind of wandered over there and helped a little bit, but not on a continuous basis. But that's his plan. The other thing he told me, and John, I think you infer, I don't know how you've been on the broadcast, Roberto or John, over the years with Chanot, and how many times on attacking headers he's put it over the bar, free headers, just all those different. Because he's normally the guy that's going to get the first head on it, and he talked about it, and he said I should have 20 goals. I think he's got 3, but and I said I don't argue. I won't argue with you on that, and because he could have had 3 or 4 every year, and he even talked about that pandemic year. He said, "Oh, I should have had 5 or 6. I had so many opportunities." But the way he described it he goes, one of the differences is I'm the defensive header, you hit the top of your head. The attacking header, you hit more, lower on your forehead. And he said, watch Castellanos when he tries the defensive clear, it kind of goes a little low because he's used to heading it down. I'm used to heading it up, and so I don't know if this is the start of great things for Chanot's score. But scoring with that mask on, I thought that was sensational. Absolutely sensational.
It was. The thing is that, New York City knows how good he is in the air, and they targeted him on offensive set pieces. And then it became a point where maybe they over-targeted him for a while because everybody was just bunching up on him. So they varied their attack now, which is good. But, last year, New York City was pretty successful on corner kicks and set pieces, and it wasn't just only him, it was everybody else. So they varied it a little bit, but there was an over-reliance on trying to get him the ball, and he was having his issues keeping the ball down.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to say, just to be happy with the guy, happy for him, happy that he's feeling his life as normal as he could be. And then, of course, he has his career back, because at the end of the day, only himself and his family knows the dark days that he was probably sitting on that, bed thinking, what I'm going to do? How I'm going to play with my kids, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that. So
Right.
Just be happy, because this shows one more time that footballers are people.
You are absolutely right, John. And so good for Maxime Chanot, and now back in the mix. And what happened before his injury is there was it was he and Thiago Martins who were sort of battling it out for that position. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops over time. And as for Kevin O'Toole, who played last night at left back, he sees himself as number 2 at left back because of the injury to Malde Amundsen, Gloster number 1, and Kevin O'Toole 2. And he's only been training there for a couple of weeks. But remember, against Sporting KC, when Gloster went out late in the game, Alexander Collins went to left back, and Chanot came in and played a little at center. So you wonder if we might see some of that along the way too. Maybe at that point of the game, you don't want to bring in O'Toole to make his professional debut in a game where it's tight and not much time left.
0-0, 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Remember this
Unless
concept.
it's your own, unless it's your only thing that you can do. But Collins has played there on the left. Actually, wasn't it against Seattle in the 1-1 tie that they put him there as well in Red
It's
Bull
not
Arena
about Collins.
for the
It's
last
not
10,
about
15
Collins.
minutes of the game.
Yeah.
It's not about Collins. That's Glenn. This is one of the concepts of being a good, leader, a good coach. You set up the kids in situations that they can succeed.
Sure.
You don't throw the kids out there
Right.
just because you want to throw them out.
Well, it's
Absolutely.
we would expect to see O'Toole on the bench, and then see if something does happen to Gloster, how Ronny Deila would play it on the weekend. So since we've talked about the U.S. Open Cup, this, by the way, photo credits to Roberto Abramowitz for my interview with Chris Gloster. Thank you very much, Roberto. And credit to John Rojas for submitting this question. So this is for 4 tickets, Delta tickets to this Saturday's Columbus Crew SC match at Yankee Stadium, 7:00 kickoff. And if you can answer the first person to answer this question, either on YouTube, where you may be watching it now, or on my Facebook page, where you may be watching it now, or on my Twitter, at Glenn Crooks. If it's Twitter you're watching this on, you have to answer this at Glenn Crooks. So I'll be monitoring everything, and the first correct answer will get the 4 ducats, and then we'll tell you later how you can secure
Don't get
them.
out what you see, Roberto, because Glenn is money.
So there is. Well, I know one of the. I think I know the answer, but I'm not entirely sure. But just an added bonus for those of you getting tickets, you're going to be in the Delta in the Delta 360 area, which is basically behind home plate, but it's luxury and food. But the added bonus is that Glenn Crooks is right above you, and you can literally turn around and heckle him during the game. I've moved to a different area, so you can't do that to me. But you can heckle Glenn Crooks during the game. An added bonus. What else do you folks want?
They're very exciting. Very exciting.
Exactly.
The heckling.
Just leave Matty Lawrence alone.
All right. Well, and if you do heckle me, then from above I can throw things at you. So either way, it works out. Well, New York City. Let's maybe get into the MLS realm of things here as the season progresses. New York City against Columbus. Columbus seems to have recovered from. I haven't watched a full game yet. I haven't really studied Columbus yet, so I'm a bit unprepared to discuss Columbus. I don't know if either one of you are, or if
I'm not yet.
Well, we can start with questions if you want to. We go from there, but it's not that they changed that much. They tweak things, but Columbus Crew plays the way we know they play. They won the ball. They had possession. They probably, using a little bit more of the transitions right now because they have fast-paced guys. But at the same time, they love to make connections. They don't like the goals. Of course, any team will take any goal, right? But the fundamental part of Columbus Crew is they like to build their situations. They attack with a purpose. They press you with a purpose. They don't press you as high as any other teams. They actually wait a little bit more. Sometimes 3/4 of the field, sometimes on midfield. It's not a defensive setup. It's actually an offensive setup because what they want is the ball as quick as possible and as close as possible to the opposition's goal. So they don't attack that in high pressure because they don't want the backs exposed, but at the same time, they're going to press you on the wider spot of the field, and they're going to use your wider areas, the back of your wider areas to attack you. Of course, you cannot leave any kind of space to Salarayan to take, shots in front of the goal, free kicks in front of the goal.
It's great, too, that Zelarayan and Castellanos are both healthy for this match, too. I'm happy that they're both there, and Zelarayan has certainly lassoed New York City and brought them in and then lassoed them again, especially with the free kick accuracy. And the I still think back to the wall and Maxime is at 5'3" in the wall. Remember that phantom wall? That was one of the strangest,
Craziest things we've seen.
Yeah, it was one of the crazier things we've seen with New York City FC. And I have to say, the Sporting KC match was the possibly, when you're doing the game, you do get a feel for if there's, the inflection of your voice watching it. It was like it was maybe the most blah. It was just a blah game. Blah. That's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah.
And you never got into rhythm calling the game at all. It was like staccato. It was like every time you try to start, it's sort of like when you have red lights against you and you're driving a car, especially if it's stick, you just never get out of second gear because you go through one, then the next one you got to stop. And that's the way that game was. It was no rhythm. You could tell that offensively, New York City really missed Castellanos in the game, but they were able to throttle Kansas City pretty well. But offensively, New York City needed more. Tati normally provides that, and they just weren't able to get it, really.
All right, we have an answer to the trivia question. Now let's just review what the question is again. Let me get back to it here in a moment. Name the top 2 goal scorers for NYCFC in the U.S. Open Cup and how many goals. So Jacob has answered with Keaton Parks with 2. Well, that's 1, and I'm going to tell you that you are accurate. That is 1, but there is another, and you have to name both. So you're not very wrong. You're very not wrong. Now
that was the easy one.
So we've
because I can't think of the other guy. Well, and I know there are 2 because you put it out there, but I thought of Keaton Parks immediately because of last night. And that came, and once Keaton Parks played 3 years ago, he played that first game. He just never came out of the lineup again, and I was wondering about that. And in my pregame show in Spanish on Saturday, I asked Efrain Juarez about that, and you'll have to listen in to see what his answer is.
We do have a winner. We have a winner on Twitter.
There's that.
We have a winner on Twitter.
Okay.
And Corey Clayton, who follows us and listens to our broadcast, Roberto, Poku and Keaton with 2 goals each. That's it. Poku and Keaton Parks.
I will say
2 goals. And
I will say this answer, Glenn. PP2, Buffing Second Halves.
And well, there it is. Poku and Keaton Parks. And Roberto described Parks, that huge game against North Carolina FC. Ironically, at Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University in 2019, 2 goals and a 4-0 win over North Carolina. Also, the other thing I remember about that game is Dave Sarakin was the North Carolina FC coach.
Yeah.
And then, the guy who had been the interim for so long before Greg Berhalter got hired as a U.S. men's national team coach. So congratulations to Corey Clayton. And Corey, if you will do this, email me at that address, and we will set you up with marketing and ticketing, as this ticket will be distributed to you through email. These no more paper tickets. Probably never again, right?
That's the best way to go at it.
Is this the way everybody's going to be? There's no paper tickets anymore, right? That's it.
No. Hey,
and the thing is that I'm going to miss that because I've got great souvenirs from paper tickets, and I would, I miss that. You can take a screenshot of you, but it's just not the same thing. It's just not.
Listen, I still don't do Apple Pay on my phone. I'm not so great with these tickets. I like having. The other reason it's nice to have a ticket, because it's a ticket and you save it, and it's like. So how about
that's what I'm just saying? What did I just say?
I don't know.
That's exactly what I just said.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I was ignoring you.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out how I was going to get these tickets to Corey. So
well, listen. 2 things. One, we got to shout out to Jacob, who kept looking for the answer, and he answered right after. He's asking for a VAR.
He wants a
He's like, yeah.
review. Ah!
And then Victoria said that she was literally typing Poku and Parks
I
as
have
you
to
Glenn
say,
announced the winner. So
I saw everything come. This is great. And then Victoria, we're so happy that that you got it right. Look, we're gonna do this with the marketing's permission and ticketing's permission. I will make a request before every Soccer in the City live to see if we can. That's not a ticket. I don't know what that is, but that's not a ticket.
Please go look at it carefully.
What does it say?
yeah,
Where are you going? Or is this an old one?
Ghana, USA.
Oh, that's exciting. I like that one.
Oh, but he was on the red sector, so he was way far.
That's a great ticket. That's a great.
Yeah. It wasn't. No, I wasn't that far. No, actually, it wasn't that far for that one.
No.
I've got one
Hey,
from '94
listen,
as
Glenn,
well. I just can't find them right now.
Before we leave the US Open Cup, let's remember later tonight, US Soccer is gonna have the draw for the next
8:30
round.
Eastern. Is that correct? 8:30 Eastern.
That is correct.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm gonna do it. I mean, it's gonna happen on Football Americas with Sebastian Salazar and Hercules Gomez. And shout out to them. I mean, they soak up almost 9 hours of TV yesterday with all
They
the
were
games,
very good.
That's
with
awesome.
Sounders at the end going 10-9 on the PK round. So it was awesome for them. I didn't watch the whole show. I jumped between watching them and watching, real games in real time for chunks. But I love what I saw. I saw the interview with Sebastian Letou. That was great. And Roberto knows this. This is something, this kind of shows, whip around shows, even on radio, right? Radio or streaming, that I dream about MLS in every single weekend.
I don't get it. They're always, if they're done well,
driving, you on the park and you're
I know.
listening with stories, and at the same time it's scores on real time.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. That's awesome. That's great.
It really
And then
is.
let's close with this. So tonight during the draw,
And
the
who's in
next
the who's
opponent,
in the, yo, go ahead. I'm sorry, you're doing
right?
Go
The
ahead.
next
Yep.
opponent for NYCFC has to come out between Charlotte, New England Revolution, or Red Bulls, because they are still doing it on like territorial divisions. And of course, the Northeast is Charlotte, Red Bulls, New England Revolution, and New York City FC. So
Here's a question: does New York City ask to host again, considering the fact that they could play in either New England Red Bulls or Charlotte? Do they prefer to go on the road, or do they prefer to play again? Because if they're going to host again, it's going to wind up being at Belson again, most
Not
likely.
If not,
Depending on the
what if
day.
Yankee Stadium and or City Field are available? Then you definitely want to be home.
You're going to open up those two venues at $1 million a piece to get 3,000 to 5,000 people.
hey, I'll give you this scenario.
That should be our next interview. We've got to get somebody from NYCFC to say,
Exactly.
hey, so you've got a home game. Will you play at Yankee Stadium knowing that? And by the way, I think more than 3,000 would show up for a U.S. Open Cup game against the New York Red Bulls at Yankee Stadium. But nonetheless, let's say 10. Will you open the stadium? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there.
Listen, but I'm
It's
going
a
to give you
trophy.
this.
I know what the answer.
It's a
I know what the answer is going to be. Sam's going to say it's going to come out of the radio budget.
Hey, I'm going to
Well,
give you
there's
this
$1 million
scenario.
in a radio budget. I haven't seen it, so
There might
yeah.
be. There might be. We're just not being told about it.
All right.
Listen to this.
Okay.
New York City FC applies to be home team. I'm just putting out there in a scenario, okay? This is not happening. I had no information. I'm just saying it.
Right.
Okay. And New York City FC decides that it's going to play in Red Bull Arena. And then the opponent on the draw is New York Red Bulls.
That would be good. That'd be good. And the Red Bulls would have to go in the away locker room, man. They'd have to go in the away at their home
Imagine that.
place. Yeah, I like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Well, New York City actually uses the away locker room when they're there. So yeah, they don't use the Red
Always.
Bulls locker room.
Yeah, no.
There's no way in hell they'd let them in there.
Yep.
I mean,
Anyways.
there's no way.
Well,
There's no way.
okay. But
Anyway,
if you're I guess you don't have a choice there when it's not your home. And then we've
But
seen.
here, but somebody came out with a great stat today.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was on Twitter. It's one of the guys who follows us, and I don't remember. I don't know if it was Chris Campbell or somebody else. Whoever it is, I'm so sorry that I don't remember this. It said that New York City has now won games in 5 different home stadiums. Right? The Red Bulls have yet to win in their home stadium.
yeah, I saw that.
And this is the 6th stadium that New York City has played a home game.
Also, there's 6. So all right, 6 then.
Well, no, you're right with the 5. The five wins because the one road, the one home game was at the played out at I'm drawing a blank here. They played at LAFC, but that was CCL at LAFC. So
that was CCL. Well, I think that still counts.
That still counts.
Yeah, those count. So it was when they played at Citi Field against Kansas City. That was 0-0.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so now that
have we been to all?
Although they played there twice now, and they did win one. So
let's why don't we rate the radio broadcast locations of the 6 home venues?
Oh my God!
And real quickly.
Well, we have
Yankee Stadium. We're behind home plate, and I can't see Maxi Morales in the far corner.
I'm closer to midfield. And
you can see Maxi Morales.
Okay, so Maxi's tough to see either way, and I'm allowed to say that because I'm only maybe a half an inch taller than Maxi. So Citi Field, a little bit better for us, and again, Roberto, you're closer to halfway at that facility. East Hartford, that was really nice. We're really high.
It's
really high,
nice.
but then you can
right
see,
midfield. Yeah.
Yeah, you could see.
But also, you're closer to the field lengthwise than we are at either Yankee Stadium or Citi Field.
That's right.
Which makes a difference.
I enjoyed that
because at Yankee Stadium, you're like 75 yards away from just the line, and I'm around 50 to 60 yards away just to get to the sideline. And then we got to see the other side.
Okay, I hope I can remember.
Which reminds me, I got to look for my binoculars in here.
All right, Belson Stadium. We have not done a broadcast from Belson at St. John, so we don't.
No.
But we've been in the press box, and you'd be able to see the game really well and hear everybody screaming and yelling, and pretty good atmosphere there last night. So that's 4. So the LAFC Bank of California Stadium is 5, and we've done 2 games from there.
You have to describe that. They didn't have a booth for you. Wait.
No.
You can't talk in a positive way of a stadium that does not have a booth for visiting radio. You can't.
No, I did. I was just trying to remember. Ian Joy actually was on that with me, and we sat in the pretty much with the supporters behind a goal to the left, and three of the 4 goals scored in the match. It was 2-2, I think. 3 of the 4 goals were scored at the goal closest to us, but we couldn't see it because of our view was obstructed. So I had to call 3 goals without seeing it, which was pretty challenging, I have to say.
Yeah, that's horrific. That makes that last.
Oh,
that puts it dead last. And
so who are we leaving out? That's 5. What's number 6?
Allow that to happen again.
What's number 6? That's 5. We're leaving one out here. So Citi Field, Yankees. Red Bull Arena. Which is number 1 broadcast location.
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely
really,
fantastic.
Really a nice venue to call from. And
on the roof.
And the eventual New York City FC soccer stadium, which it's going to happen at some point. That'll be a nice location too. We've been assured that we're going to be right at the halfway line. So hopefully that gets taken care of.
Yeah, but we're looking at but they don't have a window towards the field. It's just looking at the parking lot.
Okay. Oh, so all right. So that's a impromptu review of the radio commentary booths of the home venues of New York City FC. But in all seriousness,
our nomads.
I have grown.
They are the nomads.
Well, I've grown. I've grown more fond of Yankee Stadium than I thought I would as a soccer field. I really it's like maybe it's comfortable to be there, and that's where
Yeah.
they've played most of their games. They've had a lot of success there, but I sense that the players, the coaching, as long as that sod that is laid down isn't loose, and Alex Ring doesn't sprain his ankle on it, boy, was he angry.
That was
after
just
that
the
game.
beginning of one season. I think it was season 4 or 5 that they had those issues, and then it was fixed after that, and it has never happened again. But something changed, like for the beginning of one of the seasons, and it was horrific, and then they fixed it, and that hasn't happened again. So credit to the Yankees and their crews for being able to do that.
It's been pretty firm. It's been a pretty firm surface. So, well, how do we conclude this, boys? Yeah, anybody got anything they want to say? Got 4 minutes.
Go ahead, Roberto.
John?
Boy, they're speechless. I love it.
No,
They're speechless.
no.
I got a lot to say.
I had this one from US Open Cup too.
Okay.
I know it's just round of 16, so you still have a few games if you want to, get the title. But if New York City FC wins the US Open Cup, it will be the 27th title for New York State in US Open Cup.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me.
So teams from New York State have won the US Open Cup 26 times.
Wow.
And New York City FC will be the 27th.
The history of this thing is pretty cool. So how many times? How many times did Rochester win it? Are they the ones that have the multitude of them or not?
Come on. I just have it by state.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
there's teams like there's teams like the Greek. I think the Greek Americans or Gotcha.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
I mean, there was a time where
Brooklyn
teams like that, the Italians,
Brooklyn Italians definitely won it.
George Manfredi's team. Remember that?
For real? You want the teams from New York? Okay.
Maybe that'll be the next trivia question.
I got you. You want me to read them?
Yes.
Okay, you got it already. Good for you.
Greek American, New York Pancratian Freedoms, Brooklyn Hispano, Brooklyn Italians, New York Americans, Brookhaven, Brooklyn Field Club, Brooklyn Street, Mari Celtic, Eintracht New York German Hungarian, Crete, New York Hara, New York Hungarian, New York Nationals, New York Ukrainians, Robins Dry Drugs, and Rochester Rhinos ones.
Wow, so it's all city clubs. I love that.
City clubs.
Except for one. Except for Rochester.
Except for Rochester. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Glenn.
I didn't know this.
Give me 2 states without a US Open Cup.
2 other states? What do you?
2 different states. Yeah.
What do you mean?
That never ever won.
That never won.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Minnesota.
No. Yes.
Okay, I'll give you one.
That is one.
I'll give you one.
That's one. Yes.
Okay, I'll give you one. Delaware.
Come on.
No, the Blue. No, they had a good club team there.
But no, it's Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland.
Yep.
All right. Well, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana. What other states do you want?
South Carolina.
Well,
okay.
listen,
So what state follows New York on number?
That's a better question. California.
Yeah. Of course.
But what?
You know what I was going to say? If it wasn't California, it would have been New Jersey.
No.
I don't think so.
No?
New Jersey only have 3.
Yeah. How many do
Glenn? You didn't do your job, Glenn. Yeah. All you're showing off of New Jersey, and it's 27-3.
Okay.
By the way.
And now the last one. So, which will be the only club in MLS to get to 5 US Open Cup titles this year if they win it?
Oh, wow. The only
MLS club.
Is Sporting KC still alive?
They are alive.
No, they've won 3. They've won 3. So I think they've won 4. So this will be 5. Yeah, we did.
It was between them and the Sounders, and the Sounders lost on penalty kicks last night to San Jose.
Oh, okay.
But when Cleveland hit a terrible free, terrible.
He hit it twice. One to the goalie, one to the post.
Yeah, God.
Well,
I feel bad for him. He had a bad day. Cleveland had a
Yeah.
bad day.
No. He had a really good game. He had a really good day. He missed his penalty shot and he got that goal, last one. But he had a really good game. Even to the extent, of course, it doesn't show on the result. But if you look at the shutout, at the PK shutout, he went right to almost 99% of the shots. And he was close to stop a few of them.
Yeah.
But they were so good. They were so good taken. If you had the chance, look, Glenn, for that PK shutout.
All right, I haven't
It's
seen it.
10-9, but it's great. I mean, probably the last 2 or 3 were the only ones like in the middle, the goalie just gets run. Other than that, top corner, down corner, keeper to one side, ball to the other. That was great PK shutout.
I've become more intrigued with the shootout ever since New York City was involved with several last year, obviously en route to the Cup. But guys may recall I interviewed this guy Gare Jourdain, who had these different strategies in the PK shootout. So I will watch that because I'd be interested to see how long each shooter takes. Do they take a deep breath before they? There's performance breath is like
right.
Mikey Varis, the U20 national team coach, was talking about. He works with his players on performance breathing, which is something that's it's not necessarily totally unique. But how many coaches talk about approaches?
That? Glenn, watch it. It's all kind of approaches.
Right.
Guys with stop steps, guys breathing and taking time, guys just running at the max speed and taking the shot like, I want to get out of here. Guys, all kind. And it stuck to my head since I listened to that interview of yours. And now every time I see a shootout, I want to see if any team step in any kind of advantage on the field. Yeah.
Right. They move in front of the other team.
Right. Yeah. I'm always looking at it. I don't know. It got stuck on me.
There's a number of coaches who have already done that. I don't know. I don't want to say strictly based on that interview, but people that I know and I've talked to, or others that can't wait to try it. And remember what Ronny said about it. It's bossing the field. We're bossing the field. And I talked about it with Chanot today a little bit. His reaction. Remember he would run. He almost ran to the penalty spot after guys made their kicks last year, and he finally got caught. Not yellow card caution, but the referee said, "No, you have to stop this."
He was head cheerleader for sure.
Well, he wasn't going to take a penalty, so he had to. I guess if it got really deep,
if it got long enough, he was.
Yeah, he would have. He would have had to. All right, guys, it was fun. I appreciate it. We had some stuff from Maxime Chanot, and I'll be posting that soon on the On Frame podcast. Also, Chris Gloster. You can hear him at halftime of our broadcast on the weekend. Ronny Deila, and I'll play some of this on my social media stuff anyway ahead of time. And training today looked good, very relaxed, and coming off a game, there wasn't going to be too much going on, but nonetheless, a huge match against Columbus coming up to stay on the right track. So Columbus just they're in 9th place in the league on 13 points. New York City 6th place on 14 points. So things at this time of year can change pretty quickly.
New York City has a game in hand on them as well.
Yeah, plus Columbus have LAFC right after New York City FC. New York City have DC United.
They do on a midweek game.
Yep.
On Wednesday.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. So we got a lot to talk about next time we do this. Whenever that will be, we'll let everybody know. We all have these active social media accounts. So follow John. You see his there. Follow Roberto. You see his there. Follow me. You just put an @ there and connect the Glenn and the Crooks, and that's my Twitter. So and congratulations to Corey Clayton, the ticket winner. He's won 4 Delta tickets to this Saturday's match, Columbus Crew SC at Yankee Stadium. So you got to tune in. You got to tune in to Soccer in the City Live for your chance to win these tickets. So and if you
give them hell, Corey.
If you heckle me, things will be on top of you. I can guarantee it. All right, guys. Hey, have a good night. Great chat.
That was fun.
Bye.